On a small farmstead in rural Bavaria, Germany in 1922, a family of 6 and their maid were brutally murdered in an event that would become known as the Hinterkaifeck Murders. To this day, the case remains unsolved, with numerous theories and suspects, but no conclusive evidence. The Gruber family, consisting of parents Andreas and Kazilia, their daughter Victoria, and her 2 children, Kazilia and Joseph, lived on the farmstead, along with their maid, Maria Baumgartner. Victoria Gabriel, Andreas and Kazilia's daughter, had given birth to 2 children out of wedlock, which was considered scandalous at the time. The children's fathers were unknown, and it was rumored that one or both of them were actually members of the Gruber family. This contributed to the family's reputation as being somewhat disreputable. On March 31, 1922, neighbors became concerned when no one had seen the family or their maid for several days. A search party was assembled, and they discovered the gruesome scene. On the evening of that night, an unknown assailant murdered 6 inhabitants of a small farmstead located about 70 kilometers, 43 miles, north of Munich, Germany. The victims included Andreas Gruber, 63, Kazilia Gruber, 72, their widowed daughter Victoria Gabriel, 35, Victoria's children, Kazilia, 7, and Joseph, 2, and the maid Maria Baumgartner, 44, all of whom were found dead. The bodies of all 6 victims were found in the barn, which had been used as a makeshift living quarters for the family. The victims had been bludgeoned to death, with the exception of 2-year-old Joseph, who had been suffocated. One of the most disturbing aspects of the crime scene was the fact that the murderer had stayed in the house for several days after the murders. Food had been eaten, and the livestock had been tended to. This suggested that the killer or killers had been very familiar with the farmstead and the daily routine of the family. The murders remain one of the most perplexing and gruesome unsolved crimes in German history. The initial investigation was hindered by the fact that the crime scene had been contaminated by numerous onlookers and investigators. Additionally, the family's previous history of feuding with neighbors and former farmhands made it difficult to pinpoint a suspect. Furthermore, the police had very little experience with murder investigations, as this was a very rare occurrence in rural Bavaria at the time. There was a sense of confusion and chaos, with different investigators pursuing different theories and leads. The farm was torn down less than a year after the murders and the subsequent investigation, which revealed further evidence, such as a mattock hidden in the attic and a penknife found in the barn's hay. One of the key suspects in the case was Lorenz Schlittenbauer, a former farmhand who had been fired by Andreas Gruber several years earlier. Schlittenbauer had a history of mental instability and had made threats against the family in the past. However, he had an alibi for the night of the murders, and no conclusive evidence was ever found to link him to the crime. Another suspect was a man named Karl Gabriel, who had been convicted of murdering his own family several years earlier. Gabriel had been released from prison and was seen in the area around the time of the murders. However, once again, no conclusive evidence was found to link him to the crime. Despite numerous investigations and re-examinations of the case, the Hinterkaifeck murders remain unsolved. Theories continue to abound, with some suggesting that the murders were the result of a personal vendetta, while others believe that the family was the victim of a robbery gone wrong or even a ritualistic killing. However, with no definitive evidence to support any of these theories, the truth behind the Hinterkaifeck murders remains shrouded in mystery. The Hinterkaifeck murders serve as a reminder of the power of unsolved mysteries that captivate and haunt us. The brutal nature of the crime, combined with the fact that no one has ever been brought to justice for it, makes it one of the most infamous murder cases in history.